What up, what up, what up? You already know what time it is. Yes, it is. It's your boy Garcia the Barber back at it again. Let's talk that barber shit. I got a special guest. I mean, they all special, but I got another special guest today. Dropping some jewels, the knowledge, the game, the wisdom. Talking about how he makes it work out in Atlanta doing this thing. I've been checking out this boy platform for a while. I love everything that he's doing with his platform. So much knowledge, so much gift that he's sharing with the barber industry for those that's coming up and want to know how to get their line, how to get their fade, how to get their profit, how to get their business in order. He's been doing it. He's doing it well, doing it amazing. And I'm blessed to have him on my platform. So I'm gonna let the Instagram do what it do. Start setting up the notifications. Let the algorithm get up, get it popping. You know what it is. Let everybody know. We about to talk that barbership. We about to get it live. We about to get it going. And I appreciate everyone that's been following, everyone that's been sharing their perspective, sharing their thoughts, their love, telling me to keep going, keep pushing this platform because they love everything that's about it. How we just on here talking real, keeping it straight facts, no gimmicks, no games, no bullshit, straight facts, how to really get it going, how to really make it happen. And that's what I wanted to do when I created this platform. So from the beginning to where it's at now, much love, much appreciation. I thank you all. So let's get it going. I see him on, I see him, the ideal barber. Let's get it. All right, sir, I'm ready when you are.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it, my man.
What up,
How you
bro?
how you
Bless,
doing? I know
man.
it's the afternoon for you, it's morning for me, but how is your day going so far?
Yeah, man. So far, so good. Pretty chill. Yeah, it's about 12:15 for me, bro. So I've been at it for a little bit.
I want to first say, how was your holiday? How was your Thanksgiving? How did you play it out? What did you do? Was it just with the family? Did you work, then go and chill, get a plate? Like, how did you do it?
Yeah, I mean, the week of was kind of normal. Like, I didn't make too many major adjustments with my schedule.
Okay,
So I already take like every other Saturday off. So I just kept it pretty simple, bro. I didn't work Thursday. I didn't work on Thanksgiving, but I worked the day before. Kept it low key with family. So just my immediate family, my mom and dad went out to their house. My household, there's five of us, bro. I got three kids, my
okay,
wife and I. So we just drove out there, had a little non-traditional, meal, and
all right,
yeah, man, kept it pushing. Went back home later on that night.
okay. So they didn't have. I mean, I know you be cooking it up in the barbershop, but they didn't have you throwing it down in the kitchen.
So that's one of the funny things, man. My dad and I had like a little slight competition
Okay,
for Thanksgiving. It wasn't meant to be like that, but
yeah,
it ended up being a competition. Like we sent out a group message telling everybody in the family what they were supposed to be responsible for cooking.
okay,
And nobody asked me to do anything. So I kind of felt a little kind of way about that. So I was like, listen, I can do the Cornish hens because we didn't want to do any turkey or ham.
yeah,
So my dad was like, nah,
yeah.
youngster, I got it. You ain't got to worry about the Cornish hens. I kind of felt the kind of way about that. So I ended up, I cooked like half the Cornish hens. He cooked the other half. We got to do a
Yeah.
poll, bro, to find out who's better. But if you ask me, I think I do my thing. But
You think you
yeah,
take?
it was pretty cool, bro.
That's amazing that you have those moments with family because that's definitely what it's about. And we're gonna tackle more into that a little bit later. But I'm glad that she
For
was able
sure.
to share that. That's really dope, man. For those that don't know, this platform is for amazing people like yourself to come on here, speak your truth, drop that knowledge like you have been for a while. But sometimes people miss a lot of that stuff through how the system of social media is laid out. So this is a chance for like people to really see the individual personality up front. And
Yeah.
I want to like hit and hone in on the beginning roads for a lot of those that are transitioning into this area. They could have been somewhere else and that area didn't work out per se for them. And now they're giving themselves a chance to say, hey, maybe I can make some moves in this industry. I love everything about it. I love, just having that conversation with someone or, I've been
Hmm.
cutting friends here or somebody gave me some clippers, and now I'm getting to that point where I want to take it to the next level. I want to hear from you. Like, what was your journey? Where did it start? How did that first day start for you when you looked at them clippers? It could have been your dad cutting your hair, and you say, "Oh, okay, Dad, you did your thing for all them years. Now it's time for me to do my thing." Or maybe you started with a friend and you started cutting his hair, and you just loved the way your fades and your lineup was coming, and you was like,
Yep.
"Okay, let me see what I could do." So, where did it start?
Similar to what you just said, bro. In middle school, I realized that my dad was jacking me up. So I decided to pick up the clippers myself, and it turned out better than what I thought it would. I kind of had a background of drawing and sketching
Okay.
coming up. Used to draw a lot of comic book style sketching,
Mhm.
that type of stuff, and it kind of came a somewhat natural to me. But from there, like, got to high school, man, started cutting some of my homeboys. You kind of know how it goes, right? Started cutting them up, had a little clientele coming up, but I didn't really think of barbering as an actual career until I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
So this is all
Okay.
in Virginia. That's where I pretty much grew up.
Okay.
Um, Moved to Atlanta, Georgia, 2008, and that's when the recession hit. I don't know if y'all remember that, but the last time we had a major recession was 2008, and I
Mhm.
decided to go to barber school part time and try to supplement my income. And
Mhm.
from there, it kind of took off, bro. Long story short, I realized that my skill set was gonna be something that can be something I can actually build a career off of. So I quit my job like 2011, 2012,
Mhm.
and yeah, man, been doing well in Atlanta ever since.
Oh wow, man, I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
bro.
let's talk about, like, what was what was it like when you finally said, okay, this is it. Like, what was it? What was it, that first feeling? Maybe cutting in school when your peers in school was starting to see the transition. Like, oh yeah, he's really getting it. He's really getting better. Or that professor, or maybe a mentor, or just yourself when you just looked at the mirror and you said, hey, now, I got this. I'm building my blueprint. I know at each stage where I want to take this, and I know how I'm gonna make this happen through all the struggles, through all the up and downs. How did you keep yourself moving forward with your main goal?
Yeah, man. I mean, when I first started, there wasn't much confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I started from a place of probably where most new barbers start off is fear. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, fear, anxiety, not knowing, if I was really doing a good job, right? You cutting friends and family. So like, yeah, they look in the mirror and they're like, oh yeah, that's nice. But you really don't know for sure until you get into the barbershop
Yeah.
and you actually have to have somebody pay you, right, their hard-earned money to see if you really are like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, bro, the first few years was just straight
Mm-hmm.
nerves. I remember, like, the first day I was in the barbershop, man, like having to go in the bathroom because I was so nervous, like having to step away, go in the bathroom, and say a
Yeah.
quick prayer because
Yeah.
my hands were shaking so
Yeah.
bad, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it started from, bro. The confidence didn't come until the reps came, right? Like, just like shooting free throws, right? Like, you shaky at first, but the more reps you get in the gym, the more it feels comfortable. So I'm at the point now, well, not even now. I would say just rewind back to my first few years. I got to the point where the reps were high enough that the
Mm-hmm.
confidence started taking over,
Correct.
and that's kind of what it built on. The confidence built on the reps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
When you transitioned from the school and went straight into the shop, did you do apprentice, or did you were just like a student first and then got your license and then went straight to a shop?
Yeah, man. I tried to do an apprenticeship. I when I first moved here and I decided I wanted to go to barber school. I wanted to be an apprentice. There's a shop chain here in Atlanta. Can't think of the name right now. It'll come to me. But he had about 4 or 5 different shops, and I personally had never gone into them because I used to cut my own
Yeah,
hair.
yeah,
But I just remember seeing them all over the place, right? So I remember getting his email address and reaching out to the owner of the shop, and I was like, "Hey, bro, I want to be your apprentice. Like, I'm punctual, right? Like, I'm dedicated. You know what I mean? I just want to learn under somebody who's done it and has shown that they can really build something, especially in Atlanta, bro. Like, there's a lot of shops. They go up, they come down, but I was like, listen, man, like, I think I was 23 at the time. And I was like, bro, I just want to learn from you. I don't want to go to barber school. I want to learn from a master who has the experience. And he actually replied back to me. He was like, bro, I appreciate your enthusiasm. You know what I mean? But I'm just too busy. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to give you the time to really train you like you want. I'd recommend that you go to barber school. And I remember him saying that, and I took it for face value. I was like, all right, bet. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll respect your opinion. And I started to go to barber school instead. And it's funny, bro, because I get that same question a lot now. Like a lot of barbers see my content, and
Yeah.
because of the free game that I give, they reach out like, bro, I want to be your apprentice. I want to learn from you. And I give the exact same advice, bro. It's I wish that they would just take barber school more seriously and
Mhm.
learn that way. Because even in a shop like mine that we're doing pretty good, there's still only so much that you can learn, right? And there's only so much that I can give to you as a busy, somewhat successful barber. But if you really want to learn the ins and outs of the craft, you got to go to barber school,
Yeah.
man. You got to go to barber school. So yeah, that was my path. I went to barber school, and it was only part time. I wasn't able to go full time. Full time, so it took me 2 years to get through the program.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing, man. I took my time and finished it up. But yeah, I was working 2 other jobs at the time, bro. So I was just hustling.
I'll feel you on that because my journey was similar, especially with me going back to school. I did graveyard shift, and then I went to school during the day the whole time. Like I would leave graveyard shift and go to the parking lot of the school, sleep in the parking lot until the school will open, go
Yeah,
into class, be there
man.
all day till it closed, and do
Yep.
that till it. I got to a point where I was like halfway complete, and then COVID hit, and then we had to sit around and figure out what was going to
Yeah,
happen.
man.
And yeah, it was man, it was a storm. It was
I feel
crazy.
like that's necessary,
Yeah.
man. Like that type of struggle, that type of attitude. Because for me, it was similar.
Yeah.
I was working third shift valet, and I was working my other job part time in the morning. After I leave that job, I go to barber school. After I leave barber school, I go
Mm-hmm.
valet third shift, and I just ran that play for 2 years. You know.
Yeah. um, Knowing how, because I know for me, I know like around your area is the mecca of like hairstyle and haircuts. Like I feel like that's where it's the core and where everything is built from, like so many different looks and styles. How was you able to find the right institute for you to help you, groom your ability and take it to the next level, and also the barbershop that you wanted to work in to help you groom your business aspect, so you didn't feel like you was wasting your time from transitioning from school to a barbershop. How did that play out for you?
So your first question is how did I choose the barber school that I went to?
Yeah, because I know a lot of people right now are trying to figure out like if they just want to, do the apprentice. I know, like you said, you spoke on like, hey, I just went to school, but I know now with everything that's changing, I don't know how much is changing in Atlanta, but I know out here in California that you don't have to do the practical anymore. You just do the written.
Mm.
Um, the hours are a little bit less now than what it was before. So it's like I feel like they're trying to rush a lot of things now.
Yeah,
So
man.
like for students that are like, hey, I really want to make sure that I'm preparing myself before I jump into a shop. Like what was the mindset for you that you might can, deliver to someone that's watching right now? Like, hey, this is, what worked for me. It might not work for you, but this is what
Yeah.
I did to make sure
Yeah.
that, yeah,
I'm glad you said it like that
yeah.
because I wouldn't recommend they do it the way that I did.
Okay.
Just because of access to more information now, right? So like when I decided to go to barber school, I think I only looked at maybe two different schools. Like I just Googled a couple schools and went and toured them.
Mhm.
Um, I think the advice I would give now to somebody trying to find a school is definitely do the same thing. Like go tour this actual school and get a vibe from it, right? Like walk in and feel what that energy is like when you walk in, see how they receive you, right? What the owners are like. But also try to talk to graduates. So I would say for anybody that's considering going to a barber school, go find some of the barbers in your area that are already successful and ask where they go to school, right? So kind of start reverse engineering
Mhm.
what you want to accomplish. So like look at a barber like yourself, find out what you went through, what you didn't like about your school, what you did like. Maybe that instructor that you had
Yeah,
at your school was at a different school, right? Because
yeah.
my instructor was really dope now. So that would be my advice, man, is to start from the barber that you look up to and then kind of reach out to them to figure out what was their process and what school they went to. Um, but then online is a lot of resources too, right? There's YouTube channels now that are out that we didn't have when we started.
All right.
There's barbers who are actually like celebrity barbers or actual influencers who give a lot of great information out.
Yeah.
but you still want to walk back to, what barber school is available in your local area and
Yeah.
how much attention you can get, right? Like you don't want them to be too busy so you can get some one-on-one attention,
Hmm.
but you just want to have that space to ask a hell of a lot of questions because I think a lot of barbers in barber school are just intimidated. I remember I was, man, like I didn't ask as many questions as I should have because I didn't want to feel like the one
Mhm.
who didn't know how to do this.
Right.
Even though
Right.
that's the place where you're supposed to learn
Right.
that stuff. So yeah, man.
No, no, I agree with you on that because like when I came in and I was in there with the, it was like people that was like straight out of high school or still in high school, still cutting hair, and I was like, but they was like well groomed, like they knew how to
Yeah,
cut.
yeah,
So it was just like, you had that intimidation, like, damn, this young cat is up here in barber school killing it. And then I had one person that worked at the school, but he would go to school, do his course, but he had like his regular clientele that would come up there.
yeah.
So he would have them pay their $5 for the school, but then he would get his additional price off of that. And he
That's
just be
dope.
like cutting all day. So it was just like crazy to see the format and the layout of how like some of the cats are doing it
It's
in the school.
crazy. Like, and I would ask anybody that's in this live, y'all, like, if you're a barber, just drop how many years you're in the industry, right? Are you fresh out of barber school? Just drop 1 year. If you're 1 year out, let us know so we can kind of frame this conversation based
Yeah,
on where y'all at.
yeah,
But like, yeah, man, there's so many different ways, and for me, like, there's different levels of advice that I can give, right? There's advice that I would give you as a licensed, experienced
mhm.
barber that I wouldn't give somebody who was just starting off, right?
Right, right,
It's two different frames
yeah.
for real.
No, no, you're right on that. Like, what was your first barber shop experience like? Did he freeze? Did he freeze? Oh, did it freeze on me?
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay, no
Can you
worries.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
All
well. What was
right,
your
perfect.
first barber shop experience like?
First barbershop experience before I started cutting. Is that what you're saying?
No, 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 no. Like when you started cutting. How many shops did you work at? Did you?
Yeah. I worked at just two shops before I opened up my own shop. So the barber school
Okay,
that I went to, they had a shop that was attached to that school. So after I
okay,
graduated, or as I was about to graduate, actually, I had a decent skill set. So when the barber shop got busy, that was next door, they would ask me, "Hey, Mike, we got some extra walk-ins. Would you mind, coming over?"
okay,
Crazy, bro. I
okay.
remember that was probably the most nerve-wracking part was being still in school trying to cut next to like some real legit barbers.
Yeah.
Um, After that, I graduated and went to work in a shop in Buckhead, which is kind of like the upscale version of Atlanta, that side of Atlanta.
Okay.
Worked there for like 5 years, started managing a couple years in. First experience in that shop was just like I said, more nerve wracking, man. Like there were 17 barbers in that shop. I was one of 17. So I
Yeah.
remember like being, and of course, intimidated. I was one of the younger guys. I was like 23 at the time.
Hmm.
Um, I remember the intimidation of working around barbers who were like always busy and trying to carve myself out and make myself like really different in a
Yeah.
shop full of barbers. And I say this all the time. It's like trying to open up a McDonald's on a street with 16 other McDonald's on the same block, right? Like what makes my Big Mac any different than any of these other Big Macs? So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out my
Yeah.
lane, and it was helpful, bro. I think being in a
Mhm.
shop that was that busy, that many barbers, built up a nice little what's the word? I guess it just built up a lot of drive in me, right? To really push to be different, to be myself. So that was helpful for sure.
So was it like a knife, sharpened knives, like were you guys helping each other, like in the premise, like if they saw something you was doing, they would come over here and be like, hey, I love what you're doing, but maybe you want to tweak it here. Was it that type of environment, or was everybody kind of like their own setting, and you just came in there and you just kind of like had to build up your confidence and lay out and say, hey, this is who I am, this is who I'm gonna be, and hopefully it works out.
It was both. It was both, man. Because there were so many barbers in there, you did have the barbers who were, more quiet about what they're doing. They didn't want you to see their technique. They didn't want you to
Yeah.
see what kind of enhancements they were using, right? But also you had the more supportive ones, right? Or the ones who were looking at me because I came in, just trying to build my own lane. They were asking me a lot of questions and I was able to ask them questions. So it was a little bit of both, bro. I think I felt both energies. But like I said, I think that was the most helpful thing was being around both sides of the industry. And I think we even had that today. There's
Yeah.
barbers who gatekeep today, and
Yeah.
there's ones who give free game. So, you know, I was around
Yeah.
both.
100%. So, speed it up a little bit. When you now in your own lane and you're doing what you're doing with your crew, what was some of that, you know, older information or layout that you would have to experience to get where you are now? How did that affect you? How did that groom you? How did that put more into perspective, like how I want to deliver my lane with the people and my crew that I have? Like how has this journey been going for you now? Oh, I didn't lose you
Yeah,
again.
I think the experiences that shaped how I built my barbershop was the I guess reading the clientele, right? And understanding even if they weren't my client, what frustrated them. And I think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of barbers that are here watching this that listen to this conversation can kind of take that same advice is that you need to understand what's frustrating your ideal client, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what market that you're in, what's frustrating them. Is they frustrated because their barber can't get their line to be symmetrical every time, or they frustrated because they have to wait an hour and a half even though they booked an appointment.
Yeah.
So for me, it was the latter. It was knowing that myself, I'm a more punctual person, and I like to be on time. I like to be punctual, and I wanted to build a shop that reflected me first.
Yeah.
So even with the barbers that I reached out to work with me, I made sure that that was a key thing that they understood. Like this ain't gonna be a typical shop,
Mm-hmm.
even though we do have even though people can't book online, we're still gonna be dead serious about what it means to be on time, right? And even if we're not on time, because nobody's perfect, we're going to be dead serious about communicating and letting people know that we're running behind, right? And respecting everybody's time. So I would say that was probably the biggest thing, bro, was I had a good feeling for what I didn't like about the shop I was in and knew that the new shop that I wanted to create, I wanted it to be more reflective of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt comfortable first, right? I wanted to be comfortable in my own space. And then that in turn, that attracted the right type of clientele for us. So yeah, just to continue that conversation, that journey, like bro, we're actually now just got voted the best barbershop in Atlanta by
Yeah,
Atlanta
I was going to touch
Magazine.
on that. You jumped ahead of
Yeah,
me.
my bad, my bad. But it's all about the complete journey, right? Because I remember when I was talking to a barber about working with this, like we're in a salon suite and we
Yeah,
have 5 chairs and a pretty big space in there. But as I was talking to him, he was like, bro, like how am I gonna build clientele? It ain't no walk-ins.
yeah,
And I was like, bro, you just gotta trust the process. Like I know my business model, I know what I want to do. I have some structure and some systems and some strategies we can run, but you just gotta trust the process and lean into the model I'm gonna teach you. So yeah, he's been doing well. That specific barber's name is Newland. He's been doing well, man. He hit 6 figures after 1 year working in my
nice,
barbershop, bro.
nice.
So yeah, it worked out well for him. We talk about it, we joke about it often. Like, yeah, you see what happens when you be a little patient, right? Yeah, man.
uh, Speaking of that, like I said, I definitely want to get back to that. But one of my questions was just basically like the understanding of like how did you understand liability and asset? Like
Mm.
when did you know that certain things and do's and don'ts that you didn't want to manifest into your growth and your beginning of what you wanted to put out, which your new business layout and stuff. How did you know like what was you know an asset and what was like things that you didn't want to deal with that was a liability to who you are, who you want to be when it comes to even your business or even people that's around you that might be seeing things that you're doing and they might be second guessing it when you feeling very strong and passionate about it and you like okay I'm gonna move forward with this but then they're coming with so much negativity saying that's what you want to do, you want to be a barber, or how did you maneuver all of that and this kept focused?
Man, that's a lot. It's a deep question right there, bro. How did I stay focused? Prayer,
Yeah.
uh, being stubborn, right? So a lot of it was being stubborn and knowing that I still want to do things my way. And that's why I love our industry, bro, because I think a lot of barbers take it for granted how much flexibility we have and how much we can actually build just off of a skill set using our hands. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of industries where you can build up an entire business based off of a craft, right? And in our industry, and even to the detriment of, some of these state boards being a little more loose with their requirements,
Mm-hmm.
it still gives us the ability to grow something if you take it serious that can be like legacy building, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because of my, I guess, some of the struggles that I went through before I entered the industry, I realized that I want to be more in control, right? Like when I told you about the recession hitting and I lost my job and they just cut my hours, right? I didn't have much control.
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew that feeling drove the way that I wanted to, build my businesses. I want to have control over my income. I want to have control of the type of person that I interact with. And even fast forward to being a shop owner, it's understanding, I guess, what really makes us unique and leading into that. So I think you mentioned, being committed to my vision, even though people might doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn to trust my intuition and to learn how to market that side of things. So, for an example, right, in our industry, most barbers believe that as your skill set increases, your income needs to increase,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I work with a different mindset. I think that because we're not all celebrity barbers, there's only so high you can go with your skill set and your prices. There's
Mm-hmm.
only going to be a certain amount of barbers. Everybody that's tuned in, just I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. There's only going to be a certain amount of barbers that can actually cut legit celebrity clientele. I'm not saying you shouldn't aspire to that. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense to build your entire career off of trying to mimic what celebrity barbers do.
Mm-hmm.
So after like kind of understanding more about the fact that, bro, I can be a dope barber and still be broke, I had to understand
Right.
what are the other motivating factors that bring clients to my chair. And so besides like the external need of needing a haircut, what else do people need, right? Well, they need their time respected. So even if you are a dope barber,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody had to wait an hour and a half for the haircut,
Mm-hmm.
you might not be their best option, right? So how can I flip that? How can I create a space where even if a barber is still learning how to be better, they can still lock in a nice large clientele because they respect their time, right? And then there's the other side of things, which is, I guess, philosophical, like the way things ought to be. A lot of people want to support us, bro. A lot of clients want to support a black-owned business. They want to support a young black man who, started cutting hair after the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have the systems in place, nor do we have the commitment to really be who we say we are, right? And to be an upstanding person who actually does the right business. So as long as barbers don't like operate in that, I guess, hustle mentality, I think that they can build a career that in turn can create like legacy for you.
Right.
But it takes focus and it takes I guess discipline, bro. I think that's the biggest thing. It's probably discipline.
Yeah. I love everybody that's tuning in. We're not overlooking what you guys are posting.
Not at all.
I see it. I know he see it. If you guys have questions as well, don't be afraid to put it in the comment, and we are answering whatever questions you have for, my guy right now that's dropping all these jewels for you, all this information, whatever you have that sticks to barbering. We're not on here trying to just mantle nobody or talk about nobody's cuts or nothing like that. We just sharing
Nah.
positive
All love.
energy and information to help you, keep growing in your industry. So whatever you have, let's keep it going. Um, get back to you and the things that you're sharing, because everything that you're sharing is a key factor. I love everything that we're talking about, what we're sharing. When did it come to a point where you said, okay, now I can take whatever I've been learning, from the inside the shop, and now I want to deliver it on social media, and then I want to scale all this, this built-in information that I have, and now put it out there to help somebody else, gravitate and grow, because that's what this industry and what this social media is about, is putting stuff, hopefully a lot of it, positive energy out there, and just keep elevating, showing what we do, how we do it. And
Yeah.
somebody can look at it and say, "Hey, I love what he did right there. Let me follow him. Let me take some of this content information, this information that he's sharing on how to do a fade, how to do a lineup." Like, when did that part of you build up and say, "Hey, I know I can do this, and now I'm gonna make it work"? Like, what was that first vid? You remember your first video you posted where you was like, "Hey, I don't know if it's gonna catch, but I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna keep going from there." Like, how did that feel for you?
uh how did it feel? Nerve wracking, bro. Again, I'm gonna speak to what really happens behind the scenes when you're creating content and you're putting yourself out there. it's not comfortable, man. Like even with my class that I teach, I try to share with barbers how it's about the practice and it's about publicly practicing, right? Like being okay with sitting in front of a camera and just giving your perspective. And I think more barbers, especially experienced barbers, need to realize the value in just sharing your perspective, man. Like outside of just posting dope haircuts, share your perspective on that dope haircut. I think when it comes to attracting the type of client that's built for you, that's the key is they need to know who you are. What are you thinking about while you're cutting, right? That's important. But to answer your question about what led to that confidence, um, even going back to like my first few years on social media, which is like around 2014, 2015, my first tag, my first name was ideal. No, it was raising the bar in barber. That was my
Okay.
first Instagram
Yeah.
tag. So like even before I was making six figures, my mindset was about like trying to like elevate the industry. I just didn't know how I would do it.
Yeah.
And I think my homeboy Calvin Denson, he's on the live, bro. He's a barber instructor. We went to barber school together. Like I
Yeah.
respect his path because he's an instructor. He's owned a shop for years. But I just knew that for me, I didn't want to be a barber. I didn't want to be a barber instructor, but I still wanted to like give my perspective, right? My wisdom that I had to the industry. So I just started posting content that kind of broke down what I'm working on, right? Or what I'm thinking while I'm lining somebody up. And at first, of course, it doesn't really take off because you have a small number of followers, but just over time, people started to like hit me up like, hey, bro, I appreciate that tip. Or saying,
Yeah.
hey, man, what do you think about using these liners? Or what do you think about this type of fade? So I think that's not unique to me. I think what may be more unique to me is my willingness to practice in front of people.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. I love that. We have a comment. Do you want to answer that? It's from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
business
What we got?
mind. Yeah.
So he says, what do you feel are the top three skills barbers need to have outside of cutting hair? Yeah, bro, I got a good do you have a response, bro, before I share mine?
Oh no, go. I want you to deliver. This is your platform.
No, I mean, yeah, we're having a conversation. I would say anybody that's on here too, like the best way that you can help us out, y'all, is because this is a free game. We give a lot of free game.
Yeah.
Just share this with one of your barber brothers. You know what I mean? Share this with somebody who's either just starting off or in a position where maybe they're not doing as well as they want to be. Like we're just sharing free game. So just
Yeah.
be a part of that sharing and share this live, y'all. But the top three skills to have outside of cutting hair, I would say let's just talk about skill set. Just skills, the ability to market yourself, right, is a skill.
Mhm.
Knowing what to post, and knowing the framework on how to post content. So when I say marketing, I'm speaking specifically about content marketing, posting free content. Knowing how to do that, knowing, I guess, more of who you are. So trusting your voice and trusting the process, like I said about practicing publicly, that's a skill set. It's something that builds up over time. You're not going to just jump on social media and all of a sudden be dope at posting content.
Right.
Um, the next thing is structure. So I guess building a structure for your business outside of cutting hair is important. When I
Yeah.
say structure, I mean like knowing the right type of model to implement for your clients, besides just having a booking system, right? How often should you reach out to your clients?
Yeah.
What are some marketing um, strategies that you can do outside of free content, right? That's a skill set as well that I think is very valuable. So, yeah, great question, man. Hopefully, I answered your question. Um, you said three skills. Did I get three or did I do just two?
No, you gave three.
All right, cool.
No, I mean I couldn't do it any better because that was definitely the same thing I was thinking. It's all about your perspective of like what you feel like you can offer, that what you would love someone to offer to you that you will offer to your business and your clientele. So, like you said, understanding your marketing, understanding your finance, understanding how you approach your customers, what you feel like would be a great business aspect of like what would you feel like they will love, not saying that you always got to, decrease in money mark, but maybe offer something a little bit different with your thing and go, hey, I usually, you know, um, do this with my package, but I'm gonna offer this, one time special for you just to see
Yeah,
if you like it and if it's something that you want to, continue with later on. But I'm gonna do it for you just as a gift today, things like that. can work
I
for
would
your
say another
business. And
skill.
yeah,
That's dope. I think another skill, man, that I want to bring up that would benefit everybody, no matter if you're a barber or a stylist,
yeah,
is how to learn and how to focus. You know what I mean?
correct. Yeah,
That's a skill.
yeah,
That's a skill, especially today because social media is kind of built to distract us, and
hmm
that's it's a skill to learn how to focus. It's a skill to learn how to learn,
yeah,
especially in today's age, and it's a skill that's really really valuable if you can hone that in, if you can understand that, if you're like me, right, who I think I have a little bit of ADHD in me, right, so I try my best
Me
to
too.
stay focused, right, yeah, like I learn what I think about what my goals
Yeah,
are, and I just try to laser focus on that because there's so many things trying to pull my attention, right? Like it's football season, the NBA got this new tournament going on. You know what I mean? I got a wife and 3 kids,
yeah,
right? So I think being able to focus on what my priorities are and what my my values are is a skill. That's a skill for sure. Especially with this age of distraction because there's so much information that easily you can jump from one thing to the next,
yeah,
man. And that's exactly what will happen if you don't learn how to focus.
yeah. So I love that because that goes right into my next question that I have for you. You know, with us being in this industry and over time, you know, we become so many different layers and just not a barber, especially when it comes to our clientele. We're friends, we're business, information givers, we're like therapists, and you know, so many different layers when it comes to, you know, our business as a barber. It's just we're not just a barber. We have so many different I guess say like, you know, we're like octopus with so many tentacles that go so
Hmm.
many different ways of how we deliver our layer when it comes to our business. How do you take time to understand when is your mental health needs to be worked on? Because we're like giving so much to so many different people every day, you know, taking some of their energy and what they're dealing with work, family, you know, everything in life. How do you find time to distract all that and just calm down and layer and have, you know, your meditation moment with, you know, life? And then also, the next question, how you be there when, you know, your family needs you, when you know, your business needs you, you need yourself and your family needs you. How do you find layers in all
Man, well, you asked some good questions.
that?
How do I find that? It starts off with the mindset of being selfish. I'm gonna say that straight up because I know
Yeah,
what my priorities are and I know what my values are. So me being selfish means I'm gonna take care of me first. So I do have a big family. I have 3 young kids. My son is 6, about to be 7, and I have twin girls, right? Of course, I have a wife. We talked about that, right? Been married 9 years. So the best way for me to be a great husband, a great father, a great business owner, is to me for me to be selfish first. So first thing in the morning, bro, I guess my sacrifice is I wake up early enough to take care of me before I need to serve others, right? So I don't do it every day religiously, but I do know when I start feeling that anxiety and I start feeling like I haven't really, I guess, taken care of what I need to take care of, I know I need to go back and revisit my morning routine.
Mhm.
So I spend the first hour, hour and a half that I'm awake completely alone and spending time selfishly working on things that I need to take care of so I feel my best, right? So prayer, meditation, writing, journaling, um, building content, creating content for my course, all that stuff I try to knock out first thing in the morning before the demands of everybody else that I serve hits me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I start off being selfish and try my best to serve that first so I don't feel at the end of the day that I didn't really take care of what's gonna, build me up. When
Mhm.
you put that on the back burner, bro, like I know it's kind of natural for us as husbands and leaders to do that. But the more I do that, the more I've done that in the past, the more I felt like I wasn't quite living up to my own expectations for myself or being accountable to what I really believe in. So yeah, I sacrificed sleep, meaning like I went to sleep earlier or just didn't sleep as many hours so I can spend more time in the morning completely focused on what I need to focus on. That makes me feel like I'm, being my best self.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That was great. That was a great layout and information to be shared. Because I know when it comes to us barbers, we on the go. We constantly like moving. Just we moving. Like we don't want to miss the opportunities. no days, no moments, depending, how you're maneuvering in this industry. Some people probably look at it a little bit differently now, with, like you said, with the booking apps and stuff like that. They're like, oh yeah, my appointment ain't gonna come into that time. I can do whatever I want to do and then get there
Yeah,
when
man.
I'm there and all that stuff like that. But then you have some of our old schools, our older peers that say, you need to be at the shop every day. You need to be there. And if you just sitting around, maybe you could do other things while you waiting, but you need to be there from, whatever time the shop opens to whatever time the shop closes. And, even days of holidays and stuff like that. I seen a post the other day and somebody had 3 layers of like, what's the barber of each person. And he wrote, you have one barber that, takes those holidays off. Then you have another
Mm-hmm.
barber that says, he wanted to high scale his prices on the holidays. And then you have another barber that's just says, okay, family know what I am and what I'm doing. I'm a barber. I'm gonna be there on those days, full day. So it's it's a little bit different now, especially with how, like you said, we taking so much energy from, even with barbers. We taking so much energy from different barbers, watching social media, watching like these celebrity barbers, the regular barbers, the content barbers, and them showing us what this industry could possibly be, what you could possibly make, what you could possibly do, and all this other stuff. So it can have us missing our our role, our
Mm-hmm.
possibility, what we can generally be because we're chasing somebody else, so many other people's
Yeah,
dreams,
for
and we're
sure.
not, we're not steady focused on like you said, how you take time to write out your daily schedule, your lineup, what, and I think if it became that point where we can just say, okay, let me focus on me, let me focus on my journey, my road. Yeah, I can look at that person, I can look at that other person, and maybe take a little bit of that person, a little bit of that person, but I don't have to fully say that I need to be who he is. I need to be
Right.
who. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, man. I think one of the biggest tools I use is my reminders app in my phone.
Mhm.
Like I set reminders that happen all throughout the day, right? Because I get distracted. I have stuff come up, right? My wife calls me about one thing. One of the barbers in my shop calls me about something else. But I set reminders in my phone to like consistently remind me of, hey, Mike, be grateful now, right?
Yeah.
Every day at noon, it says
Yeah.
gratitude. So I see that pop up on my phone and it forces me to stop whatever the hell I'm doing and
Yeah.
just take a moment just to be grateful for whatever I'm in, whether that's something that will be perceived as negative or whatever. But the fact that I can see it is something that I can appreciate, right? Like I'm actually alive to appreciate that moment.
Yeah.
But also is I think the difference between where a barber is right now and where they, I guess, want to be or their ideal version
Mhm.
is what they do when they put those clippers down, bro.
Yeah. I
Like the
love
fact that
it.
you took the time to reach out to me, to reach out to all the other barbers that I see on your platform means that when you put the
Yeah.
clippers down, there's something else that you're doing that still pushes your goals and your values forward. I think too many of us are looking for escape, right? When we put down the clippers or some kind of a way to distract ourselves from what's going on. And so if we can lean
Mhm.
into that quiet work, right? That work that challenges us to confront being bored or confront, trying to find some type of way to distract ourselves, the better off we
Yeah.
can be when it comes to setting New Year resolutions, right? Or just staying more focused on what we want to accomplish. I,
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in using this time, like leading up to the new year, and even the new year itself. I think it's helpful for barbers and anybody to really set resolutions,
Yeah.
but it doesn't change if your routine doesn't change or if
Correct.
you don't try to disturb what you did last year. So if you look at what you did last year and it didn't give you what you wanted, then doing the same thing, even with new resolutions, ain't gonna change anything, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to say that piece, bro. It's important for somebody to focus on what am I doing when I turn these clippers off? Am I turning the
Mhm.
clippers off and just scrolling on social media, or am I creating a post for social media, right?
Yeah.
Am I turning the clippers off and listening to a podcast, or am I, watching some type of Netflix show? So you can't really look back and be upset about what you got if you didn't change any of those things. So I think that's the biggest thing is taking accountability and just looking in the mirror and realizing that you have to be that change. So they can look at barber like me or barber like you and model us all they want to, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to figure out what's going to work best for you and keep you, on the path of achieving whatever it is you're trying to knock out.
And let's don't walk away from, the changes that you have done and the growth that you have been able to add to your resume. Let's now dig into that. Like, let's talk about,
Cool.
creating a foundation, a layout, a business for your crew to come in. Now you guys have your suite. Now you're bringing in and working together and bringing so many possibilities and so much growth. And now it's a magnifying glass or a telescope that's on you guys now to show that what you guys are, what you guys deliver in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's talk about all these different positive accolades that you have achieved moving forward with, your crew, your business, per se, yourself and your family. Let's dig into all that. Let's speak about everything that you have done, with
All right.
being inside the barber and outside the barber,
For sure. Yeah, yeah. Specifically, is there one that you want to tap into?
I love, what you shared with me the other day. I'm definitely gonna dig into that now. Amplifying the master class. I love that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the magazine that you and your family and crew was featured in. Let's talk about you now being your barbershop being the top barbershop of Atlanta that people need to come and
Yes,
check out when
sir.
they. Yeah, let's talk about all
Yeah, man.
that.
So I did start a program about 2 years ago, wanting to teach barbers how to scale. And back then, I knew I had something special that worked for me. And my goal when I opened up my shop was to not have the most profitable shop to begin with, right? My goal was focused on how do I help barbers become six-figure earners. That was my only goal. So like I know I had accomplished that for myself, and I knew that there was a model that I was following. So I wanted to test it out, bro. Like when I opened Ideal Barbershop, I was like, all right, bet. I want to make sure that these barbers in my space that they have the ability to hit six figures, right? As a minimum, get to six figures. So when that happened, I realized, all right, so maybe this isn't something that's just for me. Maybe I can actually teach outside of my barbershop. So I started this program called Amplify, which is a mastermind showing barbers how to scale, right? And it focuses on three major things that most barbers don't even pay attention to, which is amplifying your career, your clarity, and your circle. So I knew that if a barber was going to grow, it can't just be about skill set. There's only so much you can do with being a better hair cutter, right? Because we're entrepreneurs, right? We're self-employed. So I had to learn for myself, like what are those additional tools that I can use, right? That I can understand. Like the barber asked, the business-minded barber, what are those additional things that I need to learn, those additional skill sets? So marketing was one for sure, but I wanted to teach how a barber can build his clarity and his career as well as his skill set. So as far as the career, yes, you can be a better hair cutter, but what about consultations, right? How well are you able to actually solve a problem for a client? And if you can solve a problem, then you can potentially sell a product besides just putting hair on the floor, right? So that can boost your income. But outside of that, how could you build the structure to make it easy for them to book again, to make it um, easy for them to refer somebody to you, right? Like there's a structure behind that too. As far as the clarity, bro, I think that's the biggest part that barbers struggle with. And I said that earlier. Like most barbers can't stay focused long enough to really hit their goals. So Amplify, I wanted to build a mindset training within the program to teach barbers how to stay focused, right? How do you challenge yourself without burning out? You know what I mean? And how do you really work on your mindset? Because that's the one thing nobody really talks about is, yeah, we can have goals and yeah, we all want to do price increases, but there's a certain mindset that comes with that, right? To make sure that you can stay with that long term. And then the last thing was amplifying their circle. So we all have goals, like I said, but it's much more difficult to try to accomplish something if you're by yourself. And a lot of sweet barbers experience this where they're in the suite by themselves and they may be doing well, but they may also feel lonely, like they're not really being exposed to the other sides of the industry or the community that they need. And outside of just going to a hair show, I wanted to provide a community barbers, like be in the right circle, people who are trying to accomplish the same thing they want to accomplish. Like going to the gym, like you're in the gym, you trying to bench press
Right.
225 off your chest is it's accomplishable by yourself. But if
Yeah.
I was in the gym with you, bro, right, and I'm behind you spotting that weight, now you could take some more risk, right? Now you feel a little more comfortable pushing that weight up. So the circle was important too. I wanted to help barbers improve their circle.
Mm.
And then yeah, man, winning Best Shop in Atlanta by Atlanta Magazine is a crazy honor to the team, bro. Like the barbers actually serving, besides just putting out great haircuts, right? Serving the community. But yeah, it's just proof that the model that I'm teaching about how to grow your business outside of trying to be a celebrity, it works.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited about where the next few years are gonna go, man, and just trying to help more barbers do the same thing.
Man, that's dope, man. Like I said, I got a chance to check out your content, your page for a while. I love everything that you deliver with your platform. Um, I feel like, with, just how dedicated, how the information that you present, I knew I had the right person to come on this platform
Appreciate
and speak
you.
and deliver. So I'm, you know, like I always tell my guests, you could have been anywhere in the way, you could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose
But
to
you're here
be,
with me.
and
Yes,
I
sir.
truly appreciate that. I always like to leave my guests with this, and you can use it however you want to
All
use it. It can be,
right.
for your business, or it could just be for you per se. Law of attraction, and how do you use that within your everyday business life, personal, like law of attraction? How does that work for you?
Man, law of attraction. I guess my first exposure to it, um, what's the name of that book I read years ago? The
Yeah.
Secret. Yeah, you heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first exposure to the law of attraction
Yeah.
years ago. But even deeper than that, because when I first read it, I didn't really fully understand what it meant besides just creating like affirmations or, visuals like a dream board.
Uh-huh.
Really, what it talks about is believing, right? And having that space where you actually believe that you have already accomplished whatever it is that you are trying to get to. So currently, I use
Mhm.
that law of attraction to spend time when I'm meditating, to think about where I want to be, how I want my day to go, how I want my week, my next year to go, and actually living in that space of being grateful just for that vision, right?
Yeah.
So I'm serving my future self by being grateful for what I can do to get to that point. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's as far as law of attraction, that's how I use it. That's how I suggest everybody that's tuned in uses it because it really works.
Yeah.
Um, as a quick side note to that, I had to change my password on a lot of my on one of my subscriptions because it was ATL's best one was my password,
Yeah.
and it's been like that for the past like 4 or 5
Yeah.
years. Now, if y'all want to say that's a
Yeah.
coincidence, okay.
Right.
But it speaks to the law of attraction, right? And speaking things and believing things
Yeah.
so that you can serve your best self. Because we all get caught up in BS, right? We get caught up in whatever it is that may distract you, but stay focused on your family and on your values, and then continue to be in that space of being grateful is amazing, bro. It's amazing for me, and it's been amazing for anybody that I've been trying to help get to that point for sure.
Hey, I want you to shout out, like I said, I'm in Cali, but whoever watches from wherever they at, shout out your location of your the suite, shout out your crew. If you're not there, they know who to go to for whatever specialty that they offer, locks, fades, whatever, individuals, whoever you have in your crew. Um, Share whatever new journey that you're working on, new products, whatever you're willing to share right now.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to share a couple different things, more free game, and then more, I guess, direction on how we could potentially work together. If somebody's listening, they want to understand how they can build their own personalized barbering career, right? Not modeling a celebrity or influencer, but modeling your future self. I'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
Um, as far as a haircut, somebody can just look up idealbarbers.com, right? Idealbarbers.com or just Google Ideal Barbershop. You'll see us and you'll see the links to book an appointment.
Mhm.
As far as free game, I want to leave them with three different things that I'm actually been working on a piece of content for. So like
Okay.
going into 2024, here are three dope things I think that any barber can benefit from. Number one is AI over excuses. AI
Okay. All right.
over excuses, y'all. Because I've been in the game for over 10 years now, I realize that there's a lot of things that we didn't have access to, bro. Got a lot of new
I don't know.
barbers.
Yeah.
A lot of new barbers. Y'all don't have very many excuses now.
Hell
So
no.
if you don't know how to use AI to help yourself or to like aid your business, you need to start Googling it. You need to start looking up YouTube because there's a lot of resources out there, y'all, that we used to have to pay for to get access to that's free, or that we had to hire somebody to be our brand strategist
Right.
or to be our copyright writer, right? Or to be our email campaign designer that AI is now able to accomplish for you. So the first gem is AI over
Yeah.
excuses. All right.
I
The
love it.
second thing is we mentioned what you do outside the shop is what really counts, right? What you do when the clippers turn off. So the second gem is podcast over playlist. When you leave the shop, y'all, if your goal is to try to take your career to another
Yeah.
level, then you need to be consuming the right stuff, right? Everything we listen to is also being consumed by us. So
Hmm.
not just what you eat, yeah, you gotta pay attention to that too,
Yeah.
but what you listening to, what you watch, you gotta be careful what you consuming, y'all. So podcasts, listen to podcasts that talk to exactly what you're trying to learn on your way home or while you're in between clients, right? Podcast over playlist. The music is cool, but if you're trying to learn, there's a lot of podcasts that give a lot of free game. All right. The last thing is probably speaks to us because we're both fathers and husbands. Is
I'm
harmony
not a father
over?
yet, but I'm a
Oh, not a
husband.
father. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah, my bro. I ain't gonna put that on you yet.
We working on it. We
Yes, sir.
working on
Congratulations in advance, my guy. Yo.
it.
But as a husband, and a barber, like there's still much to balance. And I think for a lot of time, for me, bro, a lot of years, I spent way too much time trying to balance things that really had no business on trying to be balanced 50-50. So like what I learned recently from a mentor of mine is choose harmony over balance, right? Try to find out how the hours that you're putting behind the chair or into your own self-development, how does that build harmony and any kind of synchronicity with the other things that you have going on, right? So instead of trying to be 50-50, seek for harmony, see how things can work together. For an example, my wife and I, she helps with our product line. We spend time together even while building content for the product line or even while dropping things off at the USPS store, right? So that's more about harmony. And that's the three gems, y'all. As far as how to work with me, if y'all want to understand more about what I got going on helping barbers, just send me a quick DM about and just add AMP. Just type in AMP and I'll share with you more about what I have going on. I'm even thinking about doing more free, access like I did with you, bro. So if you're still on, just DM me AMP, and I think I can work out a free month access to Amplify that'll help y'all grow your business.
Yeah, I'm gonna let them throw that in there.
Yeah,
If you guys
man.
want that knowledge, that layout, those three keys,
Yeah, man.
hit up my guy, hit him in his DM, let it manifest, let it work. This is the law of attraction. You speak what you want and you deliver. So
You go get it.
man, this was truly awesome. I thank you again deeply. I've been loving how I even manifest this to come into where it's at now, and I had been able to have so many amazing people jump on this platform and deliver, and it's been an honor for myself to know where I came from, what I had to go through, how I had to really start all over. Like I started from the
Yes,
bottom to
sir.
get where I'm at now, and just to have the light shine on me, how it's shining on me, with the right people, how I had to move and maneuver that, how certain people I had in my group had to, we had to go our own separate way because,
Mm-hmm.
time, things just play itself out.
Yeah, man.
No heart, no hate, no love lost. It just in the way of growing. You start noticing how things start
Yeah,
separating itself.
yeah, man. Yeah, I want to give you your kudos too, bro. Like I see what you got going on.
Yeah,
I salute you, bro, as a barber in the industry, giving a platform to other barbers to share their
yeah,
knowledge and just to help the overall industry
yeah.
is big.
I can hear you now.
have the spirit of wanting to help and wanting to serve by having a podcast like this, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, I just want to give you your flowers, bro. Like it's dope seeing a barber consistently deliver content that's about uplifting the other barbers, all right? Not just boosting what I do and how great I cut hair, but let me just
Yeah.
share not my knowledge only, but let me share others' knowledge, man. That's dope. And as
Yeah.
far as like the ups and downs, bro, like a lot of barbers won't get it, but it's really about overcoming these hardships, right? Like when it comes to growth, you're gonna face battles. Like that's part of it. It has to hurt. The toughest part is people don't really see that as part of the journey. When they feel pain, they usually stop. So the fact that you've been through it and you keep pushing forward means that abundance is on its way, man. So yeah, salute to you, bro. And yeah, looking forward to connecting
Oh,
again, man.
we will. We definitely
Yeah,
will.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm gonna make my way down to Atlanta. I have something that's in store that I want to like, still in this same platform and format, but I want to actually be near the barbers and, hopefully be able to create a platform where we're like next to each other and we're, speaking and talking and sharing this knowledge the way we're doing. So,
Yes,
that's
sir.
my next journey that I want to create. So, everything is a stage. You just got to keep climbing up stairs until you get where you feel like you feel. But I never feel comfortable. I never feel comfortable with anything I do. I always feeling like I got to go to the next.
Hey, man. Listen, the comfort is in being uncomfortable. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? If you
right.
want to grow, you got to be comfortable in them uncomfortable situations. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you.
But I want to shout out everybody that tuned in, that shared their words, that dropped some comments and wanted to share their opinion or get advice on what from each point of us of what we can give to you to help you manifest and keep pushing for. This was a dope platform. Will be resharing this. This will be going on my YouTube page. Same title, Talk Your Barbershop. So you will get a chance to rewatch this over and over and over and over again, and check out all the jewels that he dropped, and use that however you want to use that for your business and your goals moving forward. So thank you all. Thank you. I'll see you soon, my bro.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, bro. Peace.
Have a good one.
You too, man.